Travel Talk, where our expert magical memory planners discuss ways you can have fun, memorable, and stress-free family vacations. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Travel Talk. I am so excited because this is our first ever Travel Talk cruise panel. And I am joined by 5 of our amazing travel agents for Magical Memory Planners who have all cruised in the last couple of months and want to share a little bit about their experiences and help you see what cruising is like right now and what are the great opportunities it is for your family to take a vacation. So before we get into some of the real hard questions, we're going to start with an easy one. And that is, I just want to have all of our agents introduce themselves. They're going to tell you a little bit about how many cruises they've been on and what cruise lines they've been on recently. So Carla, why don't you kick us off? You can start first.
Hi, my name is Carla Haight. I've been with Magical Memory Planners since the fall of 2013, so coming up on 10 years. I am an avid cruiser, or my family is an avid cruiser. We've been on about 14, 15 cruises now, primarily Disney, but we've also sailed Norwegian and Royal. And just recently, this December, I was on the Freedom of the Seas with Royal Caribbean out of Miami.
Awesome. Okay, and then I'm going to introduce you to Mandy. Mandy was also recently on a cruise. It's going to share a little bit about her experience.
Hi, I'm Mandy Langdon. I have been with Magical Memory Planners for almost 4 years now, and I actually just went on my first cruise this past fall. I did a cruise with my husband for our 10-year anniversary with Royal Caribbean. We did just a short 3-night cruise. It was a quick getaway, and it was wonderful.
All right, awesome. And then our next panelist is straight off of the boat, recovering from her sea legs and getting back to dry land. Melinda is joining us. Melinda, tell us about yourself.
Hey everyone, I'm Melinda Garback. I have been with Magical Memory Planners since January of 2018. I've been on 2 Disney cruises, one right before the pandemic hit and one now after the pandemic. And like Allison said, I just got back 2 days ago. I've sailed out of Port Canaveral in Florida, and I've also sailed now out of New Orleans.
All right, awesome. And then we're going to go over to Debbie. Debbie, share with us your recent cruise experience.
Hi, I'm Debbie White. I've been with Magical Memory Planners since January of 2013, so quite some time. And I think I'm just under 10 cruises with Norwegian, Royal, Disney, and 2 weeks ago got back from Virgin Voyages with their brand new ship, Scarlet Lady. And I'm just now starting to peel. And next weekend, I'm going with my daughter on a Disney cruise for 3 nights.
Awesome. And then our last panelist for this episode is Tammy Barnhart. Share with us a little bit about your cruise experience, Tammy.
Hi, I'm Tammy. I've been with Magical Memory Planners for 5 years now. I've cruised, too many to count, I think 15 or 20 cruises. I've been on Celebrity, Royal, Carnival, and most recently Virgin Voyages, and I'm off again in another month to go on a cruise out of Baltimore on the Enchantment of the Seas with Royal Caribbean.
Very exciting. So it's so awesome to have you ladies with us and to be able to share all the experiences you guys have had, because there are a lot of them. So in some ways, a lot has changed in the cruise and travel industry in the recent months, and so some things are still the same. So for listeners who have cruised before, what is something that's different now that you would want our listeners to be aware of? So we'll start with you, Carla.
Sure. Presently, something you really want to look for is what's happening when, because not every restaurant may be open every night, or not all the shows are going to be every night. So you definitely want to check those cruise planners to find out the times of when things are going to be. And that's a little bit different than sailing in the past.
Information. What about you, Melinda? Anything since you just came off the boat, I think 2 days ago now? Some things for people to keep an eye out for that's a little different these days.
Yes, definitely. Whatever cruise line that you're sailing with, make sure that you've downloaded the cruise app. Everything is mobile now. Technology is such a big part of our lives, and in order to keep up to date with everything on the cruise ship, you're going to want to have the app.
Excellent. Debbie and Tammy, did you have anything you want to add to that? We can start with Debbie if you had something, or go ahead, Tammy.
I just wanted to add that with the mobile app, the other thing is just that, like when you go to the restaurants, they mostly have menu, the things that you scan so that you can look at the menu. They will hand you a menu if you must have one, but they prefer that you scan the menu and look at it that way.
The good old QR codes. I always like those because I like to look at the menu early in the day, because then I can make a plan for the day, because I don't want to be caught off guard with like 3 entrees that I need at dinner and have it mistakenly eaten too close to that meal. So I always have a game plan for the day when it comes to food, which is no surprise to anybody who's ever traveled with me before. Debbie, what did you want to add?
Just that you're not as disconnected as you used to be, just being able to have your mobile device to check in activities and food and where you want to go. It's part of cruising now, so embrace it.
Yes, and I think that we can say it's safe to say across the board that the cruise lines are all including a complimentary Wi-Fi that you can use while you're at sea that gives you access to all the uses of the app. So there is still paid internet that you can do for your own email and things that you might want to do, but a lot of the ships, I think all of them now have some type of complimentary Wi-Fi, so you won't have any issue getting into the app and using it while on board. Just keep your phone in airplane mode so you don't get any mobile charges. So, all right, awesome. So a lot of things have been changing with cruise lines as well, as we were talking about. So one thing that is challenging is that the changes can occur and they can occur quickly. So they can happen at any time up until the time of your cruise. And so I just wanted to talk about some resources that you guys would recommend to our cruisers. So in that planning process, as well as before they go, some of the places that they would want to go to check on to make sure they have all the latest protocols and information for their sailing. So Carla, you want to kick us off with that?
Sure. All the cruise lines themselves usually have been sending things such as know before you goes. And I think that's actually an excellent resource and something to make sure you're checking and reading before you go.
That is great advice. And they've been really good with sending up those follow-up emails. And to be sure you're going to get those emails as soon as you book your sailing, you'll want to register your booking on the cruise line website. And then that way they'll have your information and be ready to send it to you. Anybody else have anything they want to add on that front? Melinda?
Yes, I just wanted to add with Disney Cruise Line that you are getting the emails, like Carla said, up until a day or two before sailing, as far as any changes, but also they have the Know Before You Go website that they are constantly updating with any changes on the ship or anything that you need to do before you get on the ship or days in advance that you need to book your excursions. And if that's changing any at all, that's all going to be there on the Know Before You Go.
Excellent. Any other feedback on that front? Okay, so one of the exciting things is there's a lot of things about cruising that's the same, and the things that we know and love about cruising and why it's still a really great vacation. So I'm just going to kind of go around to everyone, and you can just tell us some of your favorite things about cruising and some of the recent experiences you've had. So Carla, we'll kick it off with you.
Sure. Well, I love meeting new people on ships. You really meet people from all over. You come up with some great conversations. So I definitely encourage people to get to know people around you. But to be honest, my favorite part about cruising is taking a book and sitting on my balcony or sitting up on that main deck and just reading and looking out over that beautiful water. It is truly my happy place to just decompress. The kids are taken care of, your husband's got things to do, but you can just sit and read and relax. And they bring you drinks.
Okay, Mandy, why don't you share with us some of your things? Yep, I'm back. I'm here. I was just going to say that I always keep a drink of the day nearby just in case I feel the urge. But anyway, go ahead, Mandy, share with us.
So when my husband and I travel, we really like to eat. We travel different places because we like to try new things and different foods. So one of my favorite things about cruising was that there were so many different options of things that you could eat. You had buffets, you had specialty meals, you had, the ice cream by the pool for the kids, which was really nice. Our kids weren't with us, but we had ice cream.
By your kids, do you mean your husband?
Yeah. Well, and me. So that was wonderful. But I agree with Carla. That ocean view is just crazy. It's so beautiful. I also think that waking up in a new place every day was so cool. That was really awesome to just, okay, I won't be here tomorrow. And then, you're off on a new adventure.
So awesome. So Melinda, why don't you share with us some of your favorite parts of cruising that are still very alive and well in the cruise industry?
Well, one of my favorites is the Broadway style shows. They're just fabulous. And living in the South, I don't always get to go to New York City as much as I would like to. But when I get to go on the cruise ships and see these wonderful shows, it just makes my day. That's one of the things. And another thing to touch on, like Mandy and Carla were talking, is just to be in a different place every day, to be able to expose my children to the different cultures and to be able to see different places and see more than one on one vacation instead of just staying in one place. That's what I really love.
Awesome. And then Debbie, what are some of your favorite things about cruising?
I really love talking with the crew members on board when they get a chance to stop and talk, and you hear about where they're from, what they like about being on that particular ship, what other cruise lines they may have worked for, and all the food. You can't beat the food. I mean, it's all good. And my husband was really happy to find ice cream everywhere he goes. So ice cream makes everyone happy.
Ain't that the truth? Tammy, you've been in 3 cruises in 3 months now. Is that the streak that we're on?
Yeah, that's
so
the
why
streak.
do you keep going back? What do you love
goodness.
about cruising?
Oh, there's so many things I love about it. I love that I pack and unpack once, but get to go to all these different locations. I love that somebody else is doing the cooking and the cleaning up. My daughter has a lot of food allergies. I love that I don't have to worry about whether or not she's getting the food that she needs, because all the different cruise lines have been very accommodating with her food allergies.
Awesome. So as a travel agency and as travel agents, we all get lots of questions about cruising. So we're going to go through a handful of some of the most common questions that we get and get a little some answers from some of our experts here. So Mandy, we're going to start with you. One of the questions we get is people say, well, I get bored on the ship. Will there be enough to do? Sometimes people are concerned that being just on the ship will be boring. So how do you answer that question?
So we did a 3-night, 4-day cruise to the Caribbean, and there was so much to do. We didn't get to do it all. In fact, we only had one afternoon where we sat by the pool, and I was kind of like, oh, I need like another 4 days to do this, right? Because there were so many options. Excuse me. So like Melinda said, we went to shows. We saw an ice skating show, which was really cool. There was an art gallery. They had an art auction. Just things that I would never have thought would be on a cruise ship. It was like, oh, then you happen upon them. You check that cruise app and you're like, oh, I can't believe this is happening, or this is here. There's things to do. There were water slides and rock climbing and play areas for the kids. A lot of different little like bars where you could sit and have a quiet drink, or maybe a rowdier drink if you wanted to, if that's what you were looking for. So certainly enough to do. And then again, if you wanted to be like Carla and take your book, which I definitely did, and sit by the pool and just see the ocean, you could do that too. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, because you can go if you want to, and then you can stop and slow down if you want to. or if there's multiple people in your party with different things they want to do, you could do both at the same time, which is really awesome. So the answer is yes, there will definitely be enough to do. Our next cruise will definitely be longer than 3 nights.
And I'll just give my 2 cents that you shouldn't drink the free champagne and go to the art auction after drinking a lot of free champagne. And yes, you can get 5 pieces of art into one tube that they sell you. And so just because you've bought 4, don't feel obligated to buy the 5th because you have room. Okay. There's a story there. So the next question I'm going to direct to Melinda. So a lot of people have misconceptions about cruising, and they think, oh, it's all for old people, or they think like, oh, if there's going to be like 1,000 kids on the ship and I'm not going to get any adult time, or, just some of those concerns that, it's all this or all that, which, can concern people when they're planning a vacation. So Melinda, what are your thoughts on that, and how do you help people find the right cruise line?
That definitely should not be one of the concerns that people have when they're trying to decide whether a cruise is right for them or not. More about the itinerary, different itineraries. Encourage parents to bring kids as far as Caribbean, kids like the Caribbean and it's warmer weather and spring breaks and things like that. So different itineraries appeal to different people. But cruising appeals to all ages, whether it's young, whether it's old, middle-aged, and all the cruise ships have some type of areas. Some areas are for kids, some are for adults only. There's family-oriented objects along all the cruise lines. So I feel that there's something for everyone.
Awesome. All right. And so another question, which Tammy kind of talked about a little bit as well, but I'm going to direct this one to Debbie and get her feedback. So sometimes people with food allergies or different dietary needs are concerned about sailing because, they're on the ship, and it's really up to the ship to make sure that they can take care of all their dietary needs. So when people come to you with food allergies or concerns, what's your advice to them, and what are some of the cruise line recommendations you have?
I always ask if there's any food allergies or dietary restrictions, because I do put it in the reservation, and I do notify the cruise line because they need to know it in advance to prepare. I also, every time I sit down, I mention I have allergies, and they talk about what's safe, what's not, what they can do, what they can't do. But I have not had any real problems with eating. I actually cruise so I can eat well, because I don't like cooking the food that I'm supposed to eat here. So I go on vacation to eat good food. Not gonna lie, it's the truth. I would not worry about, always be proactive for yourself or your child, but I would not rule out a cruise because you're concerned you won't be able to eat, because there will be more than enough food for you to enjoy.
Excellent. And Tammy was sharing too, she had the same experience with her daughter. So the cruise lines are really well prepared for that. The next question I have for Mandy. So sometimes people are concerned about seasickness. And since you took your first cruise recently, and so you were kind of fresh eyes on the subject, share with us some of the tips that you had about seasickness.
So part of the reason that this was just my first cruise is because I have pretty bad motion sickness. So it seemed like a really fun, awesome thing to do. But if you're sick for 4 days, that, is not so fun. So I was pretty worried about it. So we did just a short cruise. And we looked at a lot of different options for controlling seasickness. I ended up buying some essential oils off of Amazon because they were cheap, and we were like, well, we don't know, so we'll just see what works. I am happy to say I wasn't sick at all. I was told by a lot of people I wouldn't feel the boat moving. I didn't really think that was true. I mean, sometimes, you feel like you're swaying, but after like 24 hours, I felt like I got used to that. But I would put this oil on. It's just a little bit of oil. You just put it behind your ears when you feel like you're, uneasy. And then I never actually got sick. So whether or not my motion sickness isn't as bad anymore, or maybe that really worked. But yeah, I was really concerned about that, and it ended up not being a problem at all, which was amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources from medicine that you can actually get from your doctor. So you can always talk to them about it if you have severe motion sickness, as well as homeopathic things, as well as wristbands. And the ship, has a medical facility on board. And so they're always a resource on board. It's not like you're not going to have a resource once you get on the ship if you have a reaction that you're not expecting. So that's helpful. So Tammy, I wanted to ask you about dressing. So I think years ago, the conception was that when you went on a cruise, it was like really formal and every night everybody wore their tuxedos and there was a big fancy night. And it was a big complicated thing. So talk to us a little about when people concerned about what the dress code might be or what they'd have to pack for dinners and that type of thing. Is there always a formal night? What does that look like on cruising?
I feel like these days it's more about being comfortable yourself. There are definitely some guidelines that you need to follow, but if you don't own a tux, you don't have to worry about wearing a tux or a gown on formal night. A dress, a collared shirt, and a nice pair of pants will suffice. They do say for a formal night that maybe you just want to wear the nicest thing you brought with you that night. The bigger rules would be just for the dining room in general, like no shorts, no cutoffs in the dining room, no pull attire, no flip-flops. Men can't wear sleeveless shirts, no hats. But other than that, like they have casual night. And on casual night, my son has worn a t-shirt to the dining room and that was okay on casual night. Then smart casual might be more like polo shirt and, a pair of khakis for a guy, a dress or a pair of capris, and a nice top for a woman. So it's really more about what's making you comfortable these days than being so glamorous, unless that's what you want to do. I like to dress up. So I wear dresses almost every night on a cruise, but I'm not packing a ball gown.
It's always fun to see the people in the ball gown, but it's like, how did you get that in your luggage? I remember the days years and years ago where there was like a thing in your room on the first night where you could like sign up for your tuxedo rental so that you could rent it from the ship because you needed it for dress night. But yeah, things have really changed in that department. And then there's always other options for dinner too. So if you really don't even want to go to the dining room on formal night, there's like, a room service option or other restaurants or a buffet or something too. So cool. Okay. So the last big question I want to talk about, I'm going to address to Carla. So there's lots of questions sometimes about people that want to celebrate something. So whether they're doing a birthday or a special anniversary, or they want to get a big family reunion together, what are your options for celebrations and special events on a cruise ship?
Well, first of all, I definitely want to touch base, and a lot of people have mentioned how awesome it is for different ages. A cruise is excellent for multi-generational travelers because when you get a family together, say you want to do a vow renewal or a wedding party or something along those lines where you want the whole family to come together, cruises offer such an amazing array of options for everybody. Kids can go to the kids clubs and grandma and grandpa can go have specialty coffee, or, everybody can enjoy the shows. There's so many options with that. But there's so many great things you can do also, like you can have cakes sent to your table at the dining room. You can have a spa group go to the spa. You can actually rent private cabanas when you get onto the island. So like many of the different cruise lines have different options for their private islands that are going to help with those celebrations. So groups and celebrations can really go hand in hand when you're traveling with your family. And you only need about 8 rooms to actually get a group rate and get to celebrate, whatever kind of special things you have together. And especially special, cruise lines such as like Disney will actually do like a room celebration for you with actual decorations, and you can have things sent to the room. So there's many different options when you have wonderful celebrations, and a cruise is a great way to go for that.
I love it. So, and whether you're friends getting together, whether you're moms, whether you have things you like to do in common and you want to have like a book club and all go on a cruise together and read. I mean, there's so many ways you can celebrate on a cruise. So thanks for sharing that. So again, I just want to thank you guys all for being here and being part of our panel. I hope that all our listeners had fun listening to a little bit more about cruising, and cruising is coming back in a big way, and we're excited to help everyone with their cruises. If you are looking to plan a cruise, these are 5 of the best people I know that can help you get on board with your family. So feel free to reach out to them. Their contact information will be in the show notes and on our website as well. And happy cruising, everyone. Bon voyage.